Welcome to Prague Propaganda, your one-stop hub for all things progressive music in Southeast Asia. This video features the audio for our article, A Journey Through Tech Death. Before we proceed, be warned. You are about to delve into a special part of extreme music. Technical death metal is not for the faint of heart. This genre pushes the boundaries of intensity and complexity, offering an experience that is as challenging as it is rewarding. When discussing progressive music, before we proceed, be warned. You are about to delve into a special part of extreme music. Technical death metal is not for the faint of heart. This genre pushes the boundaries of intensity and complexity, offering an experience that is as challenging as it is rewarding. When discussing progressive music, the term often brings to mind intricate compositions, conceptual storytelling, and a daring approach to breaking musical boundaries. Within this expansive universe, technical death metal stands as one of the most extreme manifestations of the progressive label. While other subgenres of progressive rock and metal explore atmosphere, melody, or thematic depth, tech death channels the progressive spirit into relentless complexity and technical prowess. It is a genre that pushes the limits of musicianship, demanding not just from the performers, but also from the listeners. As such, tech death can be seen as the ultimate convergence of progressive ideals with the raw aggression of death metal, resulting in a sound that is both intellectually challenging and viscerally powerful. I wouldn't write this article about this genre if I were not a fan myself. I would even say that I got into more extreme genres in metal through its musicianship. My appreciation for the genre was solidified in the early 2000s, during a period when the genre was reaching new heights. Tech death, as a genre, had its origins in the late 80s and early 90s, but to me, it was in the 2000s that it truly came into its own, evolving into something distinct. Tech death is definitely characterized by its emphasis on virtuosity, particularly in guitar playing and drum work, while vocals are usually quite straightforward death growls, often very linear, and that's often an aspect that refrains appreciation of the genre. The focus on brutality and raw, animalistic expression of power in death metal is the foundation of this music. Tech death pushes the boundaries of the genre by incorporating intricate riffs and pushing the speed and complexity of compositions further. Many would say it's just a bland display of technical prowess. It's certain that it's not for everyone and is an acquired taste that requires previous encounters with metal in general. However, one cannot contest that in this genre of music, every note, riff, and drum fill is meticulously calculated, sometimes almost surgical in its precision. It's music that demands to be experienced with good speakers, as every element is designed to be heard clearly and distinctly. Tech death and the progressive label. If tech death stands within the broader spectrum of progressive music, there's also progressive death metal, which shares the goal of pushing boundaries and breaking away from traditional death metal structures. This article will focus on tech death. The two genres diverge in their approaches. Tech death emphasizes relentless complexity and technical prowess within a death metal framework, while progressive death metal, think Opeth, leans towards expansive compositions, genre blending, and experimenting with melody and dynamics, often incorporating acoustic guitars and clean vocals. Where progressive death explores mood and narrative, tech death hones in on precision and speed, making it a genre that challenges and rewards listeners through sheer technical ability. Both genres emerged together, with many bands sitting between these categorizations. I will also not venture into the dissonant aspect of tech death represented by a band like Ulcerate, as I feel it deserves a genre of its own, which would include dissonant black metal bands like Deathspell Omega. The roots of technical death metal. The seeds of tech death were planted in the late 80s and early 90s with bands like Death, Nocturnus, and Pestilence, thrash death bands who helped shape the genre. Death's Chuck Schuldiner was a virtuoso guitarist, and their career accompanied the birth of tech death. The sound of the band evolved from raw and poorly produced unfiltered bursts of aggression to increased technicality and intricate guitar work in the mid-90s. As the 90s progressed, the death metal genre began to splinter into various subgenres, with technical death metal emerging as one of the more prominent offshoots. Early pioneers like Cynic and Atheist laid the groundwork for what would become tech death, blending the raw intensity of death metal with the sophistication of jazz and progressive rock. These bands were ahead of their time, pushing the boundaries of what extreme metal could be, and their influence is still felt today. Many bands were also developing a more complex sound with the purpose of sounding even more brutal, such as Suffocation, Nile, Cryptopsy, Gorguts, and Demilich. The evolution of technical death metal. By the early 2000s, bands like Necrophagist took the genre to new heights. Their 2004 album Epitaph is a masterclass in technical death metal. That's why I'm starting the playlist below with the track Stab Wound, which encompasses what the genre is and should be. This era of tech death was defined by an obsession with precision, with bands striving to outdo each other in terms of complexity and speed. I personally grew fond of the genre in these years. The cleaner production and more melodic approach definitely hooked me, even if the gory vocals shocked me at first. The aesthetics of the bands also changed slightly. It is still a mainly white, long-haired, bearded guy's music, but this music spread worldwide. Also, as the music got more serious, the concepts and artworks too. More on this at the end of the article. This music spread everywhere from then on. Necrophagist is German, while bands like Psychroptic from Australia brought a raw energy and brutality. Spawn of Possession and Anata from Sweden offered a more cerebral, progressive approach. The underground scene thrived with gems like Martyr Augury or Leucathea Aflame, each offering unique takes on the genre. These bands' music is not on Spotify, unfortunately. However, to me, it is Obscura, formed by Stefan Kummerer and former Necrophagist band members who would truly dominate the scene in the 2010s. Their blend of technicality, melody, and progressive elements propelled them to the forefront of the genre. Even if a few purists didn't approve of the evolution, the Faceless's 2008 debut, Planetary Duality, was a cosmic leap forward for the genre. The album introduced a science fiction concept that painted a vivid sonic landscape. Layered keyboards, once relegated to atmospheric textures, became integral melodic counterpoints, elevating the genre's sonic palette. This, coupled with an emphasis on melody within the chaotic structures, marked a departure from the purely brutal ethos. A band like Fallujah then pushed these elements further, infusing their music with a greater sense of atmosphere and emotional depth. Today, bands like the Zenith Passage continue to build upon this legacy. The latest incarnation of the genre would be the Americans' Archspire, known for their extreme speed and precision, pushing the genre's boundaries with their lightning-fast riffs, intricate song structures, and particularly rapid-fire vocal delivery that mirrors the complexity of the instruments. Thanks for listening to this article. We hope it gave you some insights on the genre and made you want to listen to the associated Spotify playlist. Feel free to follow Prog Propaganda's channel to listen to our articles in audio format. But also come and read our webzine on progpropaganda.asia.